understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, November 11th, 2017. I'm Edward O'Hare, nicknamed To Be Determined.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And, as always, we have 6 pretty terrific episodes for you.
Yes.
And as we start, Ed, I want to take a page out of Penguin's book and tell you, you're more than my friend. You're my conspirator. Ooh. And I'm thankful for you.
Aw, thanks.
If we can't greet each other like supervillains, how can we greet each other?
This is true. Don't trust friends. Don't trust friends. Lot to learn, but we'll get to that later. Speaking of friends, we didn't have any email this week, but a friend of ours, Dan Evans, at Redbeard on Twitter, tweeted us this week an article from Screen Rant that lists the best and worst characters of the Arrowverse. And Sarah, what do you think of this article?
I think if it wasn't a deliberate act of trolling designed to get people angry and talking about it, then that writer is dead to me. Because if that's that writer's actual opinions, how are you using a keyboard, sir? How do you turn on your TV in the morning? If your opinions are that wrong, how do you function? Yeah.
Well, it worked. It was mixed up because, yeah. I feel like this list is all jumbled up. He has Ray on the list of worst, and Oliver Queen is top of the list of best.
Oliver Queen is top of the list as worst.
Oh, is worst. I think he has Oliver, Ray, and Felicity on the list of worst.
And I expected Felicity. I expect Felicity to be on the worst for comic book skewing websites. That I'm braced for, because I get it. People don't like her for whatever reason. They're wrong, but that's okay. They can be wrong. That's fine. But when you put Ray on there and you totally miss the essence of Ray's character, he's not a male Felicity. He's the optimist. He's the guy with the heart. He's the one who solves problems with his brain and with his capacity for seeing the good in people. And if you just think that he's some tech nerd, sorry that you have missed. You lose, sir. Good day. But Oliver is the worst character. Oliver. I mean, he's problematic. We've talked about this on the pod before. He has problems with truth, with trust. He has problems with control. But he's evolved, and he's had 5 seasons and going into 6 to get better. And so it just felt like someone who just hated Arrow and really wanted to talk about that. And in a universe where you have the Hawk people, are you telling me Oliver Queen is your worst character? Even you have Barry with Flashpoint, and you still put Oliver up there. I'm sorry, Ed, you say things now.
Yeah, no, I think that covers it.
But, I like these lists because as frustrating as they are, they do their job, which is getting us talking about it, getting us thinking about it, getting us analyzing character traits and character flaws. And so even though lists like this, I think, are designed to be a little provocative, it's a fun thing to yell about with your friends in real life and on social media.
Yeah.
So thank you, Redbeard.
Yeah.
I salute you.
Yeah. And if
and I did like the way they appreciated, they like John Diggle, for example, and they like let's see, who else was good on that list? I think they were they pro Alex Danvers? I think they were. So
yes, yes.
They did some things right too.
Yeah. And if you want to throw us these random articles, or you can email us dctv@wickedtheory.com, or tweet at dctvreport. I'm also at Edward O'Hare TBD. Sarah?
I'm Sarah Netzley, SaraNetzley.
Yeah. So we're trying to put the handles at the front and at the back.
We're gonna make it so you go to bed at night with the spelling of my name ringing in your head.
Yes. So. Yeah. I was going to say our executive producer, Bill Sweeney, would be proud, but he's like, yeah, whatever. But Agent Palmer, I know Agent Palmer's proud of us right now.
And that's why I do it, really.
Yep. And you got really busy this week, didn't you? Are you planning another podcast?
Yeah. So there has been some chatter on the Twitters talking about maybe watching a couple of the new Hallmark Christmas movies and then potting about it. So this is probably only going to be a small segment of not 100% of the listenership of this podcast who would be interested in that as well. But if you would like to hear me and just a bunch of smart, funny ladies talking about Hallmark Christmas movies with the proper amount of reverence and snark, join us. We will have more information about that on my Twitter account. Maybe, the DCTV report could give us a little nudge on the Twitter feed as well. So we'll see how that goes. But if you're somebody who is an otherwise sensible, logical person, but around Christmas time is just like, I'm going to watch 20 hours of this. I know what happens with each one, but I want to see Christmas trees. I want to see people in red turtleneck sweaters. I want to see kissing. If you're like that, join us.
I like some of those things.
Is it the sweaters? Is it the red turtleneck sweaters?
Yeah. You know what's funny? Like one offhand mention of Teddy Sears doing a Hallmark movie, all of a sudden the podcast is born. That's how quick it happens.
That's what happened. Because I was trying to get you to do the Teddy Sears since he played.
He played Jay Garrick.
Jay Garrick on The Flash. So I tried to get you to do that, but no, we're going to take it to a whole new pod, and we're going to just go all in.
I'll still probably watch that movie.
I'm hoping for at least one movie with mistaken identity or amnesia, one movie with some sort of magical time travel or It's a Wonderful Life thing, one movie where somebody comes back to their hometown and their childhood sweetheart is still there. I could write these, and I'm really excited about what we're going to discuss.
And each of them have a different cast member from Party of Five.
They will always have one cast member of Party of Five. It is the law.
Is it Party of Five? Is it Party of Five or Melrose Place? I can never keep track.
Well, I feel like Party of Five or Melrose Place.
Yeah.
Or Alicia Witt is going to be
90210. It's all Fox teen soaps from the 90s. That's
Listen. They got to pay the rent, just like everybody else.
Of course. You ready to jump into the episodes?
No, I want to keep talking about Hallmark movies.
All right, fine.
Yes, let's do.
All right, so we're jumping straight in with Lucifer.
All right, so Lucifer season 3, episode 6, Vegas with some radish. Chloe became upset and wallowed with Dr. Linda and Dan after Lucifer skipped town on her birthday. Lucy actually went to Vegas with Ella to help solve the apparent murder of his ex-wife, Candy. Last minute reveal, Lucy's birthday present to Chloe was a necklace of the bullet she shot him with in season 1.
Wow. So we saw a lot of different sides of different characters, especially Ella.
Oh, what a great showcase for Amy Garcia. This was such a fun episode for her.
Yes. And we mentioned I kind of have a soft spot for musicals. That Luck Be a Lady, that has to be the best showstopper in television history in like the last decade.
I am so angry that Lucifer isn't actually a show about the devil running a nightclub in Las Vegas. You have no idea. Like, I saw that and was just like, oh my God, why is he solving crimes when he could be doing this in Las Vegas?
That was amazing.
I loved it.
That was amazing. Like, and you know what? They did the whole song. You never do the whole song. It's a 30-second bit so you can get to the scene. Nope. They showed the whole song. And it was amazing. That's better than all the live musicals Fox and NBC have done the last 5 years.
You know what it reminded me of? Did you, Ed, or anybody listening see the handful of episodes of Viva Laughlin that ran several years
yes,
ago?
they did. It was canceled after 2 episodes. I think I saw both.
Me too. So this was set in Vegas, and it was a show where characters randomly burst into song, but they sang along with the original singers. So they just sort of sang over the original song, and Hugh Jackman was in it. It was beyond bizarre, and it only deserved the 2 episodes it got, honestly, even with Hugh Jackman singing. But you've got a handsome man with an accent singing in a casino, and you're gonna remind me of Viva Laughlin or Viva Blackpool, or Blackpool if you are a BBC person.
Okay.
So anyway, thank you for getting on my wavelength with that, because
Hugh Jackman came out to Sympathy for the Devil, and Melanie Griffith was in that show. She looked horrible. I felt very bad for her.
Yeah, what's funny, who was also in that show is DB Woodside, aka Amenadiel. Oh, it all comes together.
Bringing it back. Who wasn't in this episode?
Yeah.
But so we learned a lot about Ella's backstory.
And yet there's still some mystery. So let's talk about what we learned about her.
Yes, we learned that she's one of the best card counters in Vegas history. That she's not supposed to be in casinos anymore. She looks really great in a skimpy tight dress.
But yet she can still, pull out a gun and use it when she needs to.
Yes. Yeah.
What was left hanging for us was when she told Lucifer the reason she enjoys the gambling, the card counting, is it quiets the voices. And then she didn't elaborate on that. And it really made me wonder if that's setting up a future reveal of, I'm assuming that's metaphorical and not literal, but with this show, who knows? But either way, I'd love to return to that to see what's dogging her, what's haunting her. Because she's such a sunny character that to see that I do it because I don't want to, dwell on this other part of me. I'd like to know about that darkness in our sweet Ella. So she's great.
Yeah.
I also hope she got to stick around long enough to get that Las Vegas cop's digits, because yes.
Yeah, good for her. Yeah.
I know.
He'll be back.
I hope so.
It's going to be like 6 months, but he'll show up later in the season. And you realize, they've been doing the long distance thing the whole time.
I want that now. Yes. What did you think about the deepening of Candy Morningstar?
Yeah. Also, we learned, his ex-wife Candy, the whole thing where her dad owned a nightclub, and after he passed away, she got a hold of it, and she was struggling. We found out she actually is still alive and was trying to keep out of the hands of whoever was trying to kill her. I thought that scene, there were a couple flashback scenes which I thought were fantastic. I especially like the idea of Lucifer doing the whole vegging out on the couch eating ice cream thing.
In a Snuggie.
Yes.
In a red Snuggie.
Yes. That's the only reason that invention was created. Was the Snuggie only exists so that Tom Ellis could wear it.
To be wrapped around Tom Ellis's magnificent body.
Yes. Oh, sorry. No, it was striking. And I thought this was a character we saw in one episode, but clearly had an impact. And, I like this idea, this was like, I always talk about Q on Star Trek, I think is the ultimate recurring character. Kind of person who comes up once, maybe twice a season, but you always feel that impact and you always know it's going to be exciting when that episode comes. And I hope that Candy becomes that kind of character.
I actually could have done without the current crime she was involved in. That the person trying to murder her and the reveal of the murderer as the bartender, that all felt so rushed and sort of afterthoughty. I wish that there had been some other simpler MacGuffin to get them to Vegas, because I wanted more flashbacks. I wanted more of her grifting her way through things and Lucifer becoming more and more charmed by her. That I could have just watched a whole episode of that. So I resented a little bit that we had to keep going back to what was currently dogging her. I don't really care about that. I want to see flashbacks of her and Lucifer realizing like, oh, this is how we're going to help each other out. But I'm with you. I would love to see her again. She's a fun character.
Yeah, and we finally got Dr. Linda back this episode. What did you think of the Chloe storyline?
Well, okay, so here's my thing. This was one of the episodes that was moved from season 2 and held back for season 3. And I during the previous episode that was held back, Mr. and Mrs. Mazikeen Smith, I said I was concerned about how these would fit into the current flow and the current positioning of all the characters. To me, the Chloe pining for Lucifer stuff felt sort of out of left field, because they've just been, hey buddy, hey pal, hey bro, all season long. And all of a sudden this weepy jealousy felt a little weird to me. It just came out of nowhere. And that felt like it was dropped midstream from a different part of the show's history. So that bothered me a little bit. That's not to say I don't appreciate what they're trying to do, but I'm now concerned they're going to go back to being, hey, buddy, hey, partner, and we're going to have no mention of all of this, because that was a lot of emotional relationshship-y stuff. That said, what an amazing birthday party. I want to get drunk with those 3 in Lucifer's penthouse for my next birthday, because that looked fun. You had Chloe doing her best risky business and singing mean songs about Lucifer, and Dr. Linda just being Dr. Linda, and I love her. So I don't know. Did you feel that way too? Did you feel jarred by where the characters were emotionally, or was that just me?
Yeah, no. It what you're saying makes sense now that I think about it. But yeah, it did. You know, it's the kind of thing where it's a well done storyline, but it, you know, as a standalone, I think this works. When you put it into the context of the season as a whole, it does seem a little jarring. The one thing that does reinforce it is that Dan continues to be a moron.
Oh, did you cringe when he hurt that Assyrian wall? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Spackle is not going to fix that.
No.
Spackle? No. I don't really think it's going to work like that.
But if you drink more, it might make more sense. Oh yeah, Spackle will be fine.
Yeah.
And I love that when Lucifer comes back from Vegas and sees his place destroyed and people just crashed on his couch, he's just like, oh, I missed it. He didn't get mad. That's such a Lucifer reaction.
Of course. Yeah, no. But I think as a standalone, this works.
They took us to this. Yeah, it just took us to a place where it felt like this is a reconnection of Chloe and Lucifer in maybe possibly a romantic way, when they've just sort of been saying, no, they haven't even addressed it this season, really. So this probably would have worked better in season 2. So I wish the candy stuff was coming in season 3, but the emotional stuff had been addressed in season 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Just based on how they've progressed those characters these days. But as you say, it depends on what they do next season. Or next episode.
This is true. Well, we'll see. Yeah.
But a great showcase for Ella, for Candy. Fun to go to Vegas and see Lucifer in Vegas. So, yeah, yay!
All right. Was there any news for Lucifer this week?
We had no Lucifer news.
No Lucifer news. All right. Well, then I think now we're moving on to Supergirl. All right. So season 3, episode 5, Damage. Morgan Edge accused Lena of poisoning children when she used her lead bomb on the Daxamites. Alex finally broke up with Maggie, but made time to help her pack and get in a quickie before Maggie moved out. Last minute reveal, Samantha noticed a hole in her shirt and then a bullet that bounced off her without making a mark.
Out of respect for our listeners, I will not sing Bulletproof, but yeah, she's bulletproof. Okay, I liked 60% of this episode and really had a hard time with 40% of this episode.
Okay.
This, I thought, was the weakest entry of the week.
Yeah. Now, was the 40% the Maggie Alex scenes?
Actually, no.
Okay.
I was cool with how they handled that. If it had to be done, I thought it was about the best way they could have handled it. Mine was the weirdness with the Supergirl's powers being as strong or as weak as they needed to be this week, and the kind of the more you look at the Morgan Edge super evil plan, the less sense it makes. So that was it for me, was just some of the plot holes of the, and usually I blow right past those. I liked the Lena emotional arcs with her saying, you know, I want to be good all my life. I want to be good. And the one good thing I do, it turns out I'm a monster and I poison children. That was great. I really like that. But like, can Supergirl really not hold up two halves of a plane? Haven't we seen her do so much more than that? It just felt like for plot purposes, all of a sudden her fingers were weak.
Yeah. You know, it might've been something with the grip.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, you can't really test the physics of Supergirl's grip. You have to kind of go with it. But it just felt convenient that she wasn't able to do that. And, you know, if what was the end game? Maybe you could explain this to me. What was the end game of having Lena on the plane? If they were going to dump the payload but not crash the plane, was Lena supposed to fall in with the payload of chemicals? Or was she just supposed to be on there and then the plane would land? And then when they're like, oh, we're going to crash it. I just don't. What? Morgan Edge owned that company. Why would Lena? It just didn't make sense. Ed, can you make sense of any of this? Am I overthinking?
Yeah, but Adrian Pasdar is really cool.
He's so good. He's so evil.
Yeah. I mean, this was the kind of thing where, like, yeah, I know it doesn't make sense, but the way he twirls that mustache, it's you know, I just bought into it. And
see, usually I buy into it. Usually I am much better at ignoring that, but for some reason this week I was just like, nope, I am not suspending my disbelief for this. This does not make sense.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure if he was gonna kill her or because it seemed like it was just scorched earth. He definitely had the other guy in there who he ended up killing as the patsy, you know, and he ended up blaming it. He did end up blaming it on that guy. And maybe he just wanted Lena to be on that plane so he could implicate her somehow. Or I think this was also the kind of thing where he did not expect her to figure out what was going on, and once that happened, he thought irrationally and was just trying to do some kind of damage control. And that was the best thing, figuring maybe, worst comes to worst, they never find her body, she disappears, and then I get to buy Catco.
So that wasn't great for me. I did like the callback to the lead bomb, though. I mean, I do like it when they reference what's the fallout of superheroic acts. So that's always kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, and it's funny because, I mean, the action bit was one thing, but the real story here, I think, was the relationship between Lena, Kara, and Samantha. As they kind of bonded trying to resolve this, well, I mean, Lena kind of just turned into a lump, a drunk mess on the couch most of the time.
But it's fun to see characters as drunk messes sometimes.
Yeah. There was that scene with her and Kara in the kitchen felt really awkward and weird, and I did not understand what was going on there. I didn't understand. Like, was it supposed to be kind of like a come on, or was it just kind of like a what? I felt like there's something that other people are saying that I'm not picking up on here. I just know it feels weird.
Are we talking about the one that started with Lena telling Kara she's bad at keeping secrets from her, and Kara being like, smirk, smirk, smirk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That just. This show, I think, kind of has its cake and eats it too, in that there are a lot of fans that would like to see Kara and Lena together romantically, and a lot of fans that wouldn't. And so, kind of like with Supernatural, kind of like with Sherlock, kind of like with a lot of these shows, there's a little bit of queer baiting going on. Like, we're going to imply that this could happen, but we're never going to actually say it. But if you want to read it that way, you can. And I think that was one of those scenes that could be read very differently depending on what you want from those characters. I think you can definitely read it as two friends, one friend turning to another for comfort, but you could also read it as two women, you know, who have a deep connection, connecting again. So I don't know. It's, to me, it felt like another one of those scenes that kind of said, hey, fans who want to interpret it this way, here you go. But fans who want to interpret it this way, here you go. I don't know. But I liked the conversation, and I liked Lena's, that was just what I quoted before, Lena's confession about wanting to do good and never being able to. And I was really pleased to hear all of that from her. So yet again, you've just explained action to me, and then you've asked me about the emotion stuff. Are we breaking down along gender lines in stereotypical ways?
Also, I think we should mention,
and I don't understand the action. Sarah, I don't understand the talking and the emotion.
also, I think we should mention Kevin Smith directed this episode. So that's why I think the dialogue feels very snappy, and that's why I think you know he's really good with relationship episodes. You know, so I think the way that moment was handled was interesting. It's this kind of thing where like we're saying something but we're not saying something, and somehow I didn't figure out what was going on.
I didn't read a big double meaning into that necessarily. I thought it was just Lena drunk, regretting her life, and Kara trying to be a good friend was how I read that. But yeah. I do. Can you give me 60 seconds to be a journalism professor for a second?
Go for it.
This is my day job. Lena has no business running Catco. I have been thinking this since the beginning of the season, and this week, oh my God, if she has made decisions about placing advertorials, which are advertising content designed to look like news and fool readers into thinking this might be news content from the journalists, and she bought that and published it without running it past James or anybody on the news division, that's a problem. That's a trust between you and your audience problem. That's a putting advertisers first problem. That's a somebody interested in the bottom line but not talking to the news division at all problem. And that is not healthy for the media. And it happens too much in real newsrooms. And that's why it really bothered me. It's one thing if she says, I'm really new, James, can you help me understand how we make these decisions? How do we make money while still maintaining our integrity? And she didn't do that. She has this whole newsroom at her fingertips, and she's not asking for input from the news people, and she's making business decisions. No, it's not healthy. It's not good. The best flourishing newsrooms are the ones that put news first. You put news first and the money comes. Okay, thank you. I'm done.
All right.
If you'd like to know more, you can enroll in my classes. But it's been simmering for me a long time, and this particular episode really brought that to the forefront. But do you see that they're trying to build a little spark between her and Jimmy?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to give... we haven't seen James as Guardian this whole season, so I guess he's not doing that anymore. And they need to have something for him to do if he's going to stay on this show.
Oh my God, yes.
So, you know, I guess, you know, at first I thought like he was going to be afraid for his job. So it's funny. It's like the James and Lena storyline is starting to resemble the Chloe and Marcus storyline on Lucifer. Although they're dragging it out much longer, if that's the case on Supergirl.
Yeah, Chloe and Marcus aren't necessarily like boiling right now either. They're kind of laying the groundwork for both of them in a way. And again, I think it's how you interpret it. Is it just grudging respect of colleagues, or is it, well, that's a handsome man on either show? And they haven't really made it explicit yet either way, but it seems like if I was a betting woman, I'd say Lena and James are a much more sure thing than Chloe and Marcus right now.
All right. Yeah, and so yeah, Alex and Maggie. Yeah. This feels like something that was one scene that got dragged out over the course of the whole episode. You know, and I realize that this is a TV show. And, you know, if we're gonna have a B storyline, we need to check in with it once every act. But I feel like this was just kind of like there wasn't a lot here, and they felt like they were and you know, so they tried to stretch it. You know, I don't know. Didn't really work for me. Something just felt off about this.
Okay. I'm going to offer a defense, and I'm going to try to sort of put myself in the heads of the showrunners here. But for a big section of the fans, that was an important relationship. The Alex coming out story was handled really well, and it's unusual, I think, to see that level of attention and care put into a story like that. And so this relationship was important to a lot of people, especially a lot of LGBTQ fans. And so few gay and lesbian characters get happy endings on TV, and so often they end in death or they end in nasty, negative, sad ways that I think they wanted to make sure they were doing justice to this and making sure. I mean, name me a relationship that's ever ended on TV that ended with this much friendliness and love and regret, but not like I hate you, bitterness, or somebody dying, because that's how relationships generally tend to end on TV, is with this kind of acrimony. They ended this in the least fractured way possible, I guess. And I agree that they pushed this kid thing, like, kind of came out of the blue and pushed it really hard leading up to it. I understand why they did it, but I just think they were so mindful of this fandom that's hungry to see happy, healthy lesbian couples on TV that they don't get to see very often, and they wanted to make sure that the end was respectful and not cliche, stereotypical, doesn't go along with the bury your gays trope. So I think that's why they spent so much time on it, is because it's hugely important for this vocal and kind of underrepresented group of people who were watching. And so they wanted to do the best they could, given that Floriana Lima was leaving the show and they had to do this. So that's my take, is that they knew what important representation that was. And with the end of this relationship, that is the end of one of the, like I said, few happy couples on TV that would fit that characteristic. However, I do think it's going to be kind of interesting to see Alex's journey from here, because that was her first relationship and now it's ending. And so what's she like single? What's she like dating? Are we going to get into some of this? Probably a lot of fans don't want to see that because it's a superhero show and it's not a single gal in the city show. But that's my take. So I think, I'm not sure. I don't mean to hashtag not all men you. I don't know that you were necessarily the audience for that, Ed. But I understand that a lot of people, but I mean, a lot of people watching weren't the audience. So I think that probably to that audience was just like, why are we dwelling on this? So I'm trying to explain why I think that was.
Oh, no. Okay, maybe I was just kind of like, okay, we need to break up.
Yeah.
Well, we have to have sex first.
Mm-hmm.
But we're definitely leaving each other. That just, I don't know, feels a little contradictory to me. But maybe that's because I haven't had that many relationships.
Honestly, I think it was showing that there was so much love there, and that they, there was just this thing that they couldn't compromise on, and it was sort of a realistic thing. If you're with a partner and they don't want kids, realistically, there aren't that many outcomes for you. And so I think they were showing that it's not bitterness and anger that's driving that. It's really just sad regret and facing reality. So
it was different. It was definitely different for a change.
And it was a different kind of breakup, but it was a lot of footage in that episode devoted to that. But I imagine, well, we're going to get a lot of it next week, because it's going to be sister road trip to kind of try to help get Alex back on an even keel. So we're going to hear probably more sad Alex coming up.
Yeah, and I look forward to next season when Maggie comes back and her girlfriend is and she's engaged to Batwoman, because that's where Maggie Sawyer belongs. Hashtag read the comics.
Hashtag I hope Maggie Sawyer doesn't want kids, because that would be devastating. Or no, I'm sorry. I hope Batwoman doesn't want kids.
That would be amazing.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Oh.
It's like the end of 500. It's like the end of 500 Days of Summer.
I still feel kind of betrayed by that movie.
What news for Supergirl do we have this week?
Actually, we have quite a bit. We have new casting information. Jesse Raff has been cast to play Brainiac 5 from the Legion of Superheroes and possibly serve as a Kara love interest. You may know Jesse Raff from the sci-fi show Defiance, or if you were one of the 5 people, and that includes me and Ed, who watched any episodes of No Tomorrow on the CW, which was last season and was canceled. He was the mumbling boyfriend in that. So
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts about Brainiac 5 and or the Legion of Superheroes?
I'm excited for this to see.
Okay.
We're gonna have a blonde guy with green hair. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A guy with green skin and blonde hair, roaming around. Like, bring Brainiac 5. They're actually doing the Legion of Superheroes on Supergirl. Wow. This is really big. This is really big. He's a very interesting character. He kind of does have a little tryst with Supergirl in the comics, so there definitely is precedence for this. I'm just excited to see it. I want to see where this goes, and how the Legion are going to tie in to the season.
Yeah, I don't know much about the Legion because I am not a Supergirl comic reader, but my comic friends are really excited about this, and so consequently, I am.
Yeah. I didn't I explain to you Legion of Superheroes is like a teen soaps where everyone has powers.
I'm sorry. As we're recording, a text just came in from my friend Tanya, who literally 2 minutes ago, catching up on Supergirl, and all I have to say is there is no way Lena Luthor knows how to do dishes. So there you go. Thank you, Tanya.
Perfect timing.
She's not wrong. Anyway, back to the news. More Legion news. Sci-fi.com reported that the ship we saw at the end of The Faithful with the tubes in the hand actually belongs to the Legion of Superheroes, which I thought was interesting because I had no context for what that ship was. Did you link that to the Legion?
No, I had no idea. I thought it was going to be something to do with rain. But okay.
And in that article also mentioned that we are going to get a Mon-El reunion with Kara, but it won't necessarily be what you expect. And so they kept it kind of mysterious, but it sounds to me like something has changed for Mon-El, and whatever that may be, whether he's because he's in the league in the comics.
Oh yes, he is.
So it was my understanding. So I don't know if that's just like a life circumstance or if personally he will have endured things that changed him as a dude. I don't know, but they're being a little mysterious about that. So I know Mon-El was not he was divisive among viewers, but it will be interesting to see how he comes back and how Kara reacts to that.
Yeah. I think this is gonna be interesting. This is definitely where where I've always known Mon-El from, and I think this is gonna be fun. And I like that actor.
I do too.
Yeah. I'm just excited to get into it.
Yeah. Last little bit of news. TV Line reports that Laurie Metcalf is going to play Wynn's mother in an upcoming episode. You may know Laurie Metcalf from The Big Bang Theory, or you may know Laurie Metcalf from Roseanne.
I'm not sure how I feel about this, but she's a strong actress. I think it's a weird fit to be Wynn's mom, but we'll see.
Well, it will be. I look forward to seeing what Wynn's mom is like, and if she's. I'm assuming she's going to be kind of Laurie Metcalfish, if that makes sense, and that will be an interesting dynamic. But I like Laurie Metcalf, so I am looking forward to this.
All right, we just spent 20 minutes on Supergirl.
Well, I had a lot of things to say.
We did. No, there was a lot to do, but we gotta barrel into the Flash right now.
Things. Well, it's appropriate. We can speed through the Flash because all right. Season 4, episode 5, Girls' Night Out. Iris's bachelor party was ruined when Norvek gave Caitlin the snake eye, turned her into Killer Frost, and Iris, Felicity, and Cecile tried helping Frosty break up with Amunet Black's drug racket. Ralph dragged the guys to the Golden Booty for Barry's bachelor party, and Cisco gave Barry a special cocktail that made him super drunk. Joe discovered Cecile's daughter, Joni, researching for a book by working as a stripper. Last minute reveal, the metahuman, whose tears are a highly addictive love drug that the girls just let wander away, climbed a fence and got captured by the Thinker.
Wow, there was a lot happening.
This is a busy episode. So I gotta say, as soon as Ralph said, guys, I know an all-you-can-eat buffet that's $4.99, my husband gave the most guy laugh I've ever heard him give. I know where they're going. Yeah, I like Ralph. I'm really enjoying Ralph. How about you?
Yes, I think this is a lot of fun. I love the fact, one, that a strip club would actually have a picture of their number one customer, and that B, Ralph would be really proud to have that title.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At the end, when they destroyed his picture, I actually felt bad. Oh no, you've lost the embrace of your strip club family.
Yeah, like you worked really hard for that. Okay.
You spend a lot of singles for that. Drunk Barry, fan? Not a fan.
Oh, I was fan.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it every week, but come on.
No. The Titanic reference was genius.
Also, who among us hasn't gotten drunk and had a little like love poetry ode to chicken wings? I mean, we've all been there. So
I've been there.
I've been there.
Yeah, I think it happened with Uncle Jay on the Wicked Theory podcast about a month or two ago.
I think it could very well happen when you guys go live tomorrow night. So
very true, very true. I haven't finished off that bottle of 101 bourbon I got at my sister's wedding. Oh, Jim Beam.
Dude, someday I'm gonna come to New York and I'm gonna crash a recording. This is gonna happen. I'm gonna be there where the magic is.
Just I bring Febreze. And don't mind the cigarette butts.
Oh, I forgot. Bachelor pads, of course. Continue.
Sorry. Hey, man. That's Bill and Bob's place. You know, it's not. I'm gonna get fired.
And they're lovely men, and they're so handsome.
Yeah.
And this could all be cut out.
So yeah. That was the guy's story, and this really focused on hashtag feminism. This was all about the ladies.
Okay, look, I'm a hashtag feminist, but I don't go around saying hashtag feminism and like high-fiving my women friends. It was a little much. And I thought it also interestingly exposed some of the problems with the show. Iris and Caitlin are not really friends. You don't see them interact. And so to have this big like girls night, and it hadn't really ever put it together. Those two ladies are really not that tight. And she says that when Iris asked Caitlin to be her maid of honor, we're not really friends, but let's make this a new start. Oh my God. You look at the guy's side of things, those are legitimate friends who are out together, but the women's side of things, it was a little more stilted. And it kind of shows you for an episode that was all about girl power, that there actually is maybe a deficiency in interacting some of those characters a little bit more.
Yeah. It's funny. I thought
Anyway.
I thought this episode was going to be all about Iris, and it ends up being all about Caitlin. Now they do make an interesting story out of it, but I don't know. I did feel kind of weird, and I thought the Felicity guest star was really cool. To see to see her jump back in, and and I guess she's tighter with Iris than all four of those girls seem kind of flung together.
Yeah. And I understand. I mean, it's the opposite of that is a show like Friends, where you have baby showers for Phoebe and there's just a million women you've never seen before. So, I mean, you could go that route too. And here's a bunch of Iris friends we've never seen before. But that would make me less sad for Iris, because that was kind of sad, honestly. Yeah. So, yeah. But I actually didn't enjoy this quite as much as I expected. I thought I'd really get a bigger kick out of the Bachelorette stuff. I enjoyed the Bachelor stuff, but Bachelorette-wise, it really got taken over by Katie Sackhoff as Amunet, which is fine because, as we mentioned last week, I love Katie Sackhoff and she was a lot of fun. What did you think? Did you enjoy this bad guy? Did you enjoy this actress?
Yeah, no. I thought Blacksmith I thought was really fun. Amunet Black, aka Blacksmith. I guess depends on which version of the comics you're reading. But no. I thought this story was great. I thought she was a great villain. I think this was a very interesting take for Killer Frost. They really played up the Jekyll and Hyde nature of Caitlin, and although I don't really sure if it was. I'm not really sure if it was. No, she did make a decision at the end. That she was going to try to work together with everyone. She came clear with Cisco at the end. But yeah, no. I thought this was good. I feel like they did spend a lot of time just arguing, and and then rather than just trying to figure out the problem. And but no, I thought the Caitlyn stuff was good. I just wish they'd focused a little bit more on Iris in this episode. That's my basic takeaway.
Maybe that's I think maybe that was my problem too, was Iris just felt like maybe literally the least important character in that episode. And I've never been 100% in love with Iris, so she's never been my favorite, and this just isn't doing her any favors, I guess.
Yeah, to
push her to the side like that. But I did like the Caitlin Frost story, and again, Katie Sackhoff with a British accent was super fun.
Yeah, and the Joe and Joni storyline where he finds her working at the strip club felt so tacked on.
This was such a busy episode. Did we need one more thing in that? Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of like, well, we've mentioned Cecile has a daughter, so she's got to come up somehow. But I don't know. It just didn't really vibe for me. But we did connect. I really made a point when writing this summary about that Meta who has the tears. I thought that was an interesting thing, to have this one guy, that feels very much like an X-Men storyline. You have this one mutant who emits this thing, and someone's got him locked up in a room, and they're just kind of like, trying to get his sweat and his tears.
Emaciated shirtless mutants does kind of feel like an X-Men movie thing for me.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah, but I love how, like, the girls save him and then they just let him leave. Like, there's no follow-up. There's no like, hey, no, let's take you and make sure you're okay. It's like, okay, all right, we're good.
Okay, emaciated shirtless man. See ya.
There needed to be a little bit more follow-through there. I'm just saying, that.
Listen, we were at a bachelorette party.
Yeah.
What did you want them to do?
Maybe just how long have you had these powers? Maybe just cross-referencing, saying, oh, maybe this is one of the 12. This looks like one of the 12 people we know were on that bus that day. Because if the Thinker picked him up, I'm guessing he's one of those 12 people, and someone's going to be kicking themselves when they realize that later. It just seemed very convenient, like, well, no, he's not meant to be with them now, so he's just going to leave and no one's going to do anything about it.
Although, could they have stopped him? Did they have, I guess, Killer Frost could have. Was she Caitlyn or was she Killer then? I don't know. Whatever.
Well, no, it didn't matter. I mean, the guy could barely move.
I don't know. He managed to book it out of there.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it was weird.
Or at least call Barry to be like, hey, Bear, we got a guy. Could you help? He couldn't have because he was drunk, but they could have called.
Yeah. All right. What news do we have for Flash?
News. Kind of cool news for comic fans. EW.com reports that once they have sort of exhausted Ralph the way he is now, getting to know the team and sort of growing and stretching, they're going to introduce Sue. And have said that Ralph and Sue are 100% endgame for them. Ed, who is Sue?
Sue Dibney. I mentioned her last week and got you very upset when I explained her demise. But
thanks for reminding me.
Yes. Sue Dibney is Ralph Dibney's wife, and they are the most wholesome couple in the DC universe until the Identity Crisis storyline. But they are meant to be together. Like it, like what I keep talking about with Maggie Sawyer and Batman and Batwoman. Ralph and Sue are that, 10 times over. It's just, they are meant to be
it's
together.
Nice that the show makes it really clear for fans. This is happening. This is the couple. So that's gotta make, and I understand that on Arrow, the Arrow Dinah thing, not so much. So it's nice that the show is at least saying, nope, we're going to do this. Trust us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm good. That's
all right. Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes, Legends of Tomorrow. So we've got season 3, episode 5, Return of the Mac. The Legends traveled to 1895 London to investigate vampire attacks and found Rip, who had gone rogue, desperate to hunt a time phantom named Malice. Ray gave Jax an injection that severed his psychic connection to Dr. Stein, who was hurt to learn of their plan to break up Firestorm. Zari was upset to learn she can't just go back in time to save her family, and Maya tried convincing Zari not to give up her amulet. Last minute reveal, Sara sold out Rip to the Time Bureau and made a deal with Agent Sharp to give the Legends freedom to continue their work.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so did this feel more like the Halloween episode to you? This felt like it should have aired last week because you had this sort of gothic vampire, sort of a Sherlock Holmes feel, the fog shrouded streets, the digging up graves, things like that.
Yeah, it does. It does feel like a Halloween episode, but I like last week's episode as Halloween better.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, but I guess they doubled up. I was a little disappointed to learn that the vampires were not actual vampires because there's in DC Comics there are a couple of different directions you could have gone in with that. Yeah, we learned that this wasn't really vampires. This was people trying to collect blood so they can resurrect Damien Dark. And we found out he is the big bad for this season.
Oh, good. Damien Dark. I love that guy.
Yeah.
What I wasn't clear on actually was which Damien Dark is this? This is the is this the
so this is
where in the timeline is he?
Okay. So Eleanor, who I think is his sister. Is she the sister who ran for mayor? I can't remember. So Eleanor, this is the Damien Dark who was murdered in cold blood by Oliver at the end of season 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, and he remembers being killed by Oliver, and consequently before that, he remembers all of last season with the Legends. I really like Neil McDonough as an actor. And I enjoyed his stuff from season 2 of Legends a lot more than I did season 4 of Arrow.
Same. Same.
Yeah. So I'm happy to have him back. I'm a little surprised that he's doing back-to-back seasons on Legends, but
yeah, maybe that was where a part of my really came from was we just had Damien Dark.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I don't know if he's working for Malice or if Malice is somehow going to be connected to this, or if he is Malice, which I don't think that's the case. But, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I kind of liked the little details in this, maybe even more than the bigger stuff. I liked Mick's hidden depths. As he's reading Dracula and like, shh, I'm trying to read, and always carrying a stake because he wants to kill vampires. That was fun. I loved Ray recognizing his watch, his Palmer watch. Yeah, it did sell better in England.
Yeah.
Also, the person who's choosing music for the CW shows has lost their damn mind. There was a strange musical choice in the fight scene at the end. I enjoyed it, but it was weird. So between that and weird music on Supergirl, I don't know what's going on, but I kind of love it.
Yeah, he was just rocking out as he was destroying everything. Yeah, I mean, I love, Legends is the one show more than anyone who leans into the ridiculous, and it's like, well, this is preposterous, so we might as well just have as much fun as we can doing it. I thought Nate was less annoying this week.
Well, there was less of him, and that really helped.
Yes.
And I continue to enjoy Zari. I really love this addition to the cast. So she continues to be kind of amazing.
Yeah, and she made Amaya interesting.
Yes! Yeah.
Yeah, with their connection. And the Jax and Dr. Stein storyline, I guess this is an episode that needed to happen, but
Can you explain why they didn't tell Martin what they were doing?
no,
Hey,
I
Marty.
can't.
Hey, buddy. We're going to try to do this thing that could really affect you. Why wouldn't we tell you that? We would be monsters not to tell you that.
I mean, we share a psychic leak, and you probably already know it anyway. But
but I'm going to keep secrets from you arbitrarily, and to both of our.
No, I think it was
Okay.
just so we can get another couple episodes out of it. This felt kind of weird. They're not. They didn't become Firestorm again this episode. I would like to see them flex those muscles a little bit more, but I don't know if the show can afford that, because that's.
I was gonna say I think the problem is cash.
Yeah, because.
And to your question about Eleanor, Damien Dark's, I believe it's actually daughter.
Oh, okay.
And I only know that because Courtney Ford was the actress there, and we had news on the show a while ago that she had been cast as Damien Dark's daughter. She was never introduced as such, I don't think. And I enjoyed that character. I liked that sort of Victorian psychic. I'm gonna contact the spirits, and she had a lot of power herself. And she was cool. She was cool. But yeah, they didn't make that connection, that familial connection, super obvious. And I only knew it because we had read that news article before.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, because it is on the IMDb, it says her as Eleanor Dark, and I was trying to place that, like, where is that in the? Okay, okay, all right, so that works. But yeah. I mean, I guess with this kind of thing where it's weird, because like with Maggie leaving on Supergirl, and now we know a few months out that Dr. Stein is leaving the Legends. I almost want them to just get it over with already.
Yeah, it's the problem with our hyper aware. I kind of envy people who, well, I was one of those people who watched TV in the 90s when you didn't know. When Kimberly Shaw rips off her wig on Melrose, and oh my God, that was cool. That was fun. It's really hard to surprise people now. The Walking Dead has run into it with casting and who's dead and who's not. And it's just, we know, and so we're waiting for it. And so I think we get kind of irritated with, come on, let's just get there. We see the building blocks you're putting in place. Let's just get there. So it's just hard in 2017, and I feel bad for showrunners, but for the days of genuine surprise.
Yeah, and do you think Rip went non-legit really fast?
Yes,
it seemed like.
Where has Rip been? I feel like for at least 20 episodes we've had no Rip. The last half of last season and this season, Rip has been so MIA. I don't even know where he is anymore, just mentally, emotionally, So
well, it's weird, because like he sends the Legends off on this mission, and he's not around for like 3 or 4 episodes, and then he just shows up, and all of a sudden, he's gone rogue, and he's trying to hunt down Malice. I feel like we should have had, some kind of snippets of him over the course of the last few episodes.
For as much as they've been telegraphing Stein, and they've been telegraphing over on Supergirl, as you said, Alex and Maggie, they haven't telegraphed this at all. There has to be a happy medium in here. And I feel like they've gone too far and too heavy-handed on the one, and then we had no warning on the other. So, and I want more Arthur Darvill. I want more Rip in our lives.
Yes.
I don't ask for much.
I agree. We definitely need that. Cool. Was there any news for Legends this week?
Yeah, quite a bit, actually. Malice, the bad guy who has been mentioned, is going to be voiced by John Noble from Fringe and other stuff, but Fringe. So that's exciting. He has a great menacing growl, so he'll be a lot of fun. There's no guarantee that that's going to be who actually plays Malice, because the CW shows sometimes will put voices for costumed characters who then reveal their faces to be a totally different actor. But I hope Noble gets the whole shebang, because he's fabulous. A couple of Wentworth Miller, Captain Cold related bits of news. There was a throwaway reference in the premiere this season to Citizen Cold, and Hollywood Reporter is confirming that we will see Citizen Cold in the crossover in a couple of weeks.
Citizen Cold, that's a character from Flashpoint. Flashpoint, in the comic series Flashpoint, actually there was a bunch of tie-ins there is with every big DC Comics crossover or Marvel crossover for that matter. But Citizen Cold was Captain Cold in the Flashpoint universe, where instead of being a supervillain, he's actually a hero. And I believe he actually ends up being like mayor of Central City. So
Oh, I would love that. And now I'm sad we're not going to get that, because that leads into the second bit of news, which is Extra TV reported that Wentworth Miller is tweeting that he's filming his final episodes as Leonard Snart and that he's done with the Arrowverse after this, which makes me sad.
yeah, I don't know what's up there. But that is sad news. Would you be surprised if they recast this part?
Ooh, that I hadn't really thought about that. That's interesting. How do you? He was such a larger than life character. He was really, those two were the first, Mick and Snart were the first two Flash villains I loved. And so I would hate to see that. I really, really liked Wentworth Miller in this role. And I like the man pain that Rory has about losing his friend. So I don't know, recast it. Sure. Yeah, I trust the show, but I just really liked Wentworth Miller. He was so hammy.
Yeah. Well, it's also kind of like Flash is such an integral. I'm sorry, Captain Cold is such an integral Flash villain. That for him to just be gone. I mean, the show's gone in a different direction, but to me, like, you need to have the rogues, and like Captain Cold is always the leader of the rogues. So I don't know. I don't. Even though Wentworth Miller's leaving, I would be floored if that was the last we saw of this character.
Well, and if he leaves in such a way that you could say, oh, but his personality got transferred to this. Here's how you keep Jax on Legends. He transfers personality into Jax, who loses Stein and can't be Flashpoint anymore. So, okay, I'm Captain Cold now. No, that's a terrible idea. But I mean, given the nature of these shows, sure, why not have a personality transfer or something like that?
We're thinking. We're brainstorming here. We'll figure it out.
A couple more bits of news. A Hollywood Reporter says that during the crossover, the last leg of the crossover is Legends of Tomorrow, and they had so many superheroes crammed into the Wave Rider, they had to go super, super, super wide lens just to get them all on camera, which I find hilarious, and I'm so looking forward to this crossover. And apparently it's going to have big emotions in the Legends hour, which makes me wonder if this is when we actually do say goodbye to Stein. I wouldn't think you'd want to do that in the crossover when you have so many other people, but
who knows? Well, it's
last little bit of news.
I was going to say it's the perfect exit point for Stein. Because it is this is the big event. This is going to change everything for all 4 shows. So, I think if people are going to do their exits, or if you're going to have a big reveal,
that's true. And he did start on the Flash, so he does have relationships with the Flash characters as well. So in that case, that does make nice sense. So yeah, well, and the shows, it is always kind of fun to watch on these crossovers. How do you do service to the individual show while also having a million other characters on board? And they tend to do pretty well. This is the Supergirl hour. Well, no, they've done terribly with that in the crossovers until this year. I think they're going to incorporate that better. But this is the Arrow hour. This is the Flash hour. So last news, EW is reporting that coming up, and partly because of all the money they spent on the crossover, they're going to be doing a bottle episode of Legends where they're all stuck on the Wave Rider, and they've compared it to Star Trek The Next Generation's episode Cause and Effect. And I love me a bottle episode, and Ed, I know you love Star Trek.
Yes.
So how do we feel about this?
I'm up for it. Next Gen.
I'm excited.
Next Gen pioneered the fact that, we have a budget for the season, and we're not every episode, so we're gonna, pinch a little bit here, do a bottle episode. That way we can throw a little bit more money at this thing that's so it looks really cool in the next episode. So I'm all for that. My favorite bottle episode, which I mentioned to you before we started recording, is the bottle episode from Clerks the Animated Series, where Dante Randall, Jay and Silent Bob all actually got stuck in a bottle.
By the way, the Clerks animated series is a real deep cut.
yeah. That show is legendary for doing the clip show in episode 2.
Yeah. Is that the one that show had they lost the original footage, and so the Korean animators just did it in their own style and ended up with a bear driving a getaway car? Who is driving? Bear is driving. How can this be? Clerks, the animated series, playing nowhere near you.
Yeah.
Is it time for Gotham?
Oh yeah, that's right. We're moving on. We're going to Gotham.
All right. Season 4, Episode 8, A Dark Night, Stop Hitting Yourself. Penguin sent the Sirens to the Narrows to find Ed, and they discovered Grundy. Oswald tutored a mute orphan named Martin in the ways of revenge and the dangers of friendship. Mayor Burke offered Jim a promotion to captain, and Jim was reluctant until he discovered how broken Harvey had become. Last minute reveal, feeling guilty about betraying Harvey, Jim cut ties with Sophia.
That's a bad move. That's a bad move.
Yeah, I tell you what. Another episode with no Bruce and no Alfred. And I didn't even notice and I didn't even care because I enjoyed this so much.
Yeah.
Feels like Gotham's leaning into the camp and the fun quite a bit more this season. And I really love it. I know they've had some dark episodes. Professor Pig is pretty dark, but overall, I'm really liking this tone that it's striking.
Yeah. And when Oswald is teaching Martine, about how to stab people and the ways of revenge and everything else, did that feel that felt like an even creepier version of when Lucifer took the summer camp together and the dude ranch and taught them how to do a pod thing, how to organize a pod.
Yes. I loved Penguin the tutor. Oh my God. Killing him might be a little much. And then they use math as a weapon. Oh, that was just spot on amazing.
Yeah, it's so strange. That's so weird. That storyline. It felt so uncomfortable.
No, Penguin should not be allowed around children. 100% no.
But that's the one person he's able to relate to.
The damaged mute child. Oh, that poor kid.
Yes. Yeah. And so we got to see the Sirens in action, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Now you had this whole big thing happen. What does this mean for the Sirens? Firefly gets taken out, and they basically announce that they're leaving Penguin, and now Lee Tompkins, now with Cherry dead, is in charge of the Narrows now and doesn't know what to do. Where do we go from here?
I don't know. I really don't know. I enjoyed watching all of this happen. The efficiency with which Babs shot Cherry in the head and took her out, and the rapidity with which the crowd was just like, okay, Lee now, yay! I'm really liking Lee. This is a great Lee. And her stepping up, and I liked Ed saying, you take care of their kids, you patch them up. Of course they're looking to you. And I hope we see her find her footing as a leader. I don't know how that plays with comic stuff, but I'm really excited about where that's headed. But yeah, I agree. The trio of Sirens, so they've moved away from Penguin, but they're not in control of the club. They're not in control of the Narrows. That's Lee. So how do they fit in? I don't really know. Are they still in the gun business? How does Selena's hair always look so good? I don't know any of these answers, but I'll keep tuning in.
Yeah.
Also, I did not know how much I needed to see Tabs see Butch until it happened, and I was like, oh my God, yes. It didn't even occur to me that this would be happening this week until it did, and then the whole thing was just, he doesn't remember me, but I believe he's not going to kill me, and he comes to just as she knocks him out. Oh my God. So...
And then 10 minutes later, he still doesn't remember anything.
Well, I mean, he's Grundy, so...
Yeah. What did you think of Ed's performance at the beginning of the episode when he put on the penguin costume?
Amazing. I also wasn't expecting that, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And it is interesting to see the way the hoi polloi feel about Penguin. You don't always see what the crowds think about the big bads in Gotham. And so to see them cheering on as Ed makes fun of the Penguin was kind of a cool insight into where's Gotham right now mentally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're not a big fan of the Pax Penguina.
Nope. Now let's talk about Jim.
Mm-hmm.
So the mayor gives him this promotion, just hands him this promotion at the beginning, and it actually takes him the whole episode to realize that Harvey's not qualified. And I think it's the kind of thing like he had no other choice. Like like I'm surprised it took him that long to figure it out. And this last straw was that the Gotham PD, GCPD has this tradition where, if someone's shot, you deliver the bullet to them at a bar. And Harvey didn't show up and he left Jim to do it. And I think that was interesting. But
I appreciate Jim's loyalty, and I appreciate that he wasn't immediately like, oh yeah, I'll cut Harvey's throat for this. That's cool. Not literally, metaphorically. So I enjoyed that the journey he had to go through to do this, but I hate seeing Harvey so torn down. I get it. I mean, they have earned this really well this season, but I continue to be sad about what their relationship is now. Yeah.
Yep.
But nice to see Captain Jim. That's cool. I was not pleased with Jim yet again telling Sophia to leave Gotham. Quit telling Sophia what to do. She is her own lady. So yet again, you need to go home. No. Stop it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because he fulfills Harvey's prophecy like almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey man, it's coming home to roost. This is Jim. This is what you wanted. All right. This is what you set into motion. I don't understand why you're surprised that it's happening. That of course she's not going to leave. You asked her to come there. And plus it's not like he can take on Penguin alone. He needs Sophia. He's going to need to rely on gangsters until some force comes into Gotham that that gives him the power to fight back. And
like a knight, like a dark knight.
Yeah. You picked up on that, did you?
Like a goddamn Batman?
Yes.
Like a that?
Yes.
It's gonna be a while, so
yeah.
How did you like the little interaction between Lee and Babs?
Oh yeah, I thought that was yes, both of Jim's exes. I thought that was interesting. I didn't even realize that till just now. But yeah, it does make sense that they would be the ones to talk to each other. I thought that was interesting, how they're both completely away from Jim, and he's not involved in this storyline at all.
And we even got Lee kind of like, Jim who?
Yeah.
So
yeah. I
am so stealing Babs's farewell from Lee in that scene. Toodles poodle. Love it.
Oh, puns. Cool. Was that it for the episode? Was there anything?
That's really it for the episode. I have one little bit of news and one message from a reader. Or listener,
let's start with the message.
One message from a fan. Okay, so from Laura, who says, I'm 90% sure that Selena was wearing a much less sexy mask when Bruce was stalking her at the docks. So yes, it was a different mask. This one was much more sensual. And she was referring to a comment we made last week, wondering if that was the first time we'd seen a masked Catwoman. So that actually was my sister, Laura, who left that as a voicemail to me. So I appreciate the due diligence. She actually went back and rewatched that Bruce sees Selena walking along the docks to confirm, indeed, she was in a mask. This was just a much more elaborate mask last week. So Laura, thank you.
That was dedication. Thank you for doing our dirty work.
She's good people.
Yes.
And then news-wise, the IBI Times is reporting that Jerome will return, and he's going to get close with Penguin.
Cool. Yeah, I'm up for that.
So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Who will be more over the top? Can't wait to find out.
I'm interested to see what Jerome looks like. How if those
Mhm.
scars have healed and how he's holding up. Yeah. So that's exciting. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So coming into the home stretch here, one last show before we get to news, and that is Arrow, season 6, episode 5. Deathstroke returns. 13 years ago, Slade took his son Joe on a camping trip and killed a guy when he thought no one was looking. In the present, Slade asked Oliver to join him on a trip to Casnia to try to get Joe out of prison. Vigilante began hunting Councilwoman Pollard, and Dinah discovered Vigilante was really her old partner, Vincent Sobel. Agent Watson began questioning all of Oliver's friends for her investigation into Arrow. Last-minute reveal, Slade tried freeing Joe from the Jackals, only to discover Joe was their leader.
Head Jackal. Okay, so my first thought, if somebody called me kid as much as Slade calls Oliver kid, I would go out of my way to sabotage him. Who's the kid now? I get that that's Slade's thing, but Oliver is a grown man, sir. Also, friends don't drug friends. Was Oliver wrong to trust Slade? I mean, was Oliver wrong to help him? What do you think? Is Mirakuru an acceptable excuse for all of it, or are you on the Diggle Felicity train where they're like, nah?
No, I think Oliver made the right choice. I think Felicity was right. This is something that would have bothered him if he hadn't helped out. I love this. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I can't. That scene where Deathstroke came in and killed everybody. That was that was Deathstroke. Just cold blooded. That was to me. That was like the Darth Vader scene at the end of Rogue One. We finally see, oh, that's what Deathstroke is. When Oliver intimated oh, I don't know, you lost a step, I don't know if you can handle them alone. I'm just saying
You were my husband when Ralph mentioned the $4.99 buffet.
Just because you gotta understand, Deathstroke has the title Deadliest Assassin in the DC universe. He's a brilliant master strategist. And that's, going at them with the machine gun and the giant sword at the same time, that was incredible. And the only thing that's disappointing is that he just gets there in a room full of people and stops, only because the plot demanded it.
So is this the remnants of my Manu Bennett crush talking, or I feel like even though it was a mask, that was actually Manu Bennett and not some stunt guy, because Manu Bennett is awesome. I feel like he can just suit up and be like, yeah, I'll beat up these guys. That's fine.
Yeah. And it's the kind of thing, the reason he wears those bright colors is because it doesn't matter if you see him coming. He doesn't need the cover of darkness because he's that damn good. As Stephen A. Smith always says, greatness is when you know what's coming and you still can't stop it.
So it looks like we've got Deathstroke with us for several episodes this season, which is cool. I'm cool with that. I like the conflicted nature of the character's relationship with others in the Arrowverse. I like Manu Bennett very much, as I said. I like the assassin stuff. I do kind of like him calling Oliver kid, actually. So yeah, I hope we get more of this. But yeah, that was a great scene. Did you want him to just keep fighting and kill the world? Did you just want him to keep going until he was the last man standing?
Yes, I did.
Highlander wise, there can be only one. And it's Deathstroke.
Yeah.
It's Slade Wilson.
Yeah. And I think you had the cool reveal where Nylander double-crossed him, and then the ultimate reveal that, that Joe is leading the Jackals. I
That's going to lead to some delicious guilt and remorse for Slade Wilson.
yeah, this storyline. I mean, you had two interesting storylines. You had a bunch of big reveals, but to see Deathstroke finally be Deathstroke, really made it. This was like a huge moment for the week for me.
The interesting that the two reveals couldn't have been more different, because the two big reveals were who is Vigilante and what is Slade's son. And we didn't really recognize the faces of either guy, but one was so much more effective than the other. Revealing Joe as the head jackal. Oh my God. Even though we don't really know what he looks like, but just by being like, Joe, my son.
Yeah.
But when Vigilante takes his mask off and Dinah reacts, oh my God, it's you. The audience is like, who's this? Who this? So,
what?
And I mean, that was really anticlimactic after who is Vigilante for a season and a half. Who is Vigilante? And it's somebody who's going to have a big emotional arc for Dinah, but for the rest of us, it's just like, oh, that guy.
All right.
Cool. He got a blonde beard. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was, and I don't know who I would have been satisfied with. Tommy Merlin, that would have been awesome. But what reveal would have made me be like, yes, Arrow nailed it? I don't know that I have one in mind, but this was a little anticlimactic. I'm cool to see where it goes. I always like that emotional, like, you were dead and now you're evil and you didn't come find me, but you're leaving me matchbook roses or whatever. Sure, we can do that, but how do you feel?
Yeah. I had the same reaction. Like, who is that? Like, what is it? Like, oh, we're gonna find out this is like her brother or something like that. Like, she should have said Vincent. She should have said.
That would not have helped.
No,
if she had said Vincent, I thought you were dead, I probably would have gotten there. But
she would have. No. She should have said Vincent, and we should have seen a flashback earlier in the episode, like, or something where like she mentions him or like.
I wish, as much as they have been seeding events to come throughout shows in the Arrowverse, I wish that they had 2 episodes ago her playing with a little thing, a matchbook thing that he folded up for her, and her saying, oh yeah, my ex-partner used to make these for me. You could have had 30-second snippets of dialogue here and there, so you didn't telegraph it like, previously on, my partner died. That's too obvious. But you could have laid the groundwork a little more thoroughly, so this doesn't come out of left field, and it would up the stakes a little bit more. It could have been done, and they didn't do it, and that's disappointing. And I expect more of Arrow, frankly.
Yeah. All right.
Also, really quickly, why is Samantha so awful? She is so boring because she's so awful. Could they not give her any other personality trait than scowl? Like, wouldn't I get that she's investigating everybody and she's all work, but she's so boring. Like, make her disarmingly friendly, so when she slips the knife in, I don't know, something. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's this kind of like, yeah, that storyline really hasn't come together. Especially because they like half-assed it, because I thought they were gonna, like, she was gonna interview everyone, and like, Wild Dog mentions getting a call from her, but we never see that scene. It just felt, and her interview with Felicity, there's no way she lets her walk out of that room. Like, she demands to see what the text was. Like, that interview was nothing. She walked in, said hi, mentioned a couple of things about being an alibi, then she got the text and left. Like, there was nothing there. There was no meat on that bone.
She's both ineffective and uninteresting, so it's just not working for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I like the actress. I just wish that she had a little more to do. So.
Yep. But we get Deathstroke this episode. So, yeah. Oh, and we got flashbacks again.
Yes. Slade Wilson, suburban dad, camping in a Henley.
Yeah, and I think that also set up. See, this was another thing, because even though we hadn't seen Joe before, even though we hadn't seen Joseph Wilson before, or Kane as he calls himself now, when he did show up at the end, that actor did kind of look like the actor playing the younger Joseph. So I don't know. and that was another thing where it's just funny. Like, I remember the last flashback is literally just him packing up the truck, and that's it. And like, it's like, oh, we have to end this story somehow, but there's nothing interesting to say here. So just here's
Here, I'm
15
packing.
seconds. Yeah. But it did the ship. It did the purpose to show that Joseph was aware of what his father was doing even when he was a kid, even though he tried to hide it from him.
Well, and they did a nice job of showing the cracks in that relationship, and how come you don't get to fly places for free? And you could just kind of see the wheels turning, and you could see where that relationship is going to go off the rails. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Ready for news?
Yeah.
Okay. Den of Geek reports that upcoming episodes will feature a split between the old and the new team members. And overall, this season, they're trying to make Oliver more collaborative. So it's less, this is how we do it, and more, okay, I'll listen to reason. As for the split thing, if you're talking about OTA, Oliver, Felicity, and John on one side, and then the new people on the other side, is any fan going to be like, I think Wild Dog has a good point? No. So I'm not looking forward to that.
Well, to me, this just sounds like Diggle versus everybody else. And
yeah, it depends on where it falls and who's doing what by then, I suppose.
Yeah. And and there was an interesting thing that the Bruce Wayne shout out a couple episodes ago was actually Stephen Amell's idea.
Yeah, and he had to basically run it up the flagpole all the way to top DC brass to get permission. The original name of the script was something like Justin Bieber, and Stephen was like, well, it would be really cool if we could actually say Bruce Wayne, and so he went and got permission. So thank you, Steve, for looking out for the fans, because that was great.
Cool.
And finally, a little bit more crossover news, and just in general, an episode description for the crossover has been released. You can find that on pretty much any news site out there, just talking about what that's going to entail. But specifically for Arrow, they're promising it's going to be the biggest crossover yet. Oliver is at the heart of it, and it's going to feature a dark love story. And that's not the first time we've heard that. They've mentioned like a surprising love something with Oliver. You throw in the word dark, not like Damien Dark, but D-A-R-K. And it just kind of makes me wonder, what are they going to do? I'm a little spoiled on what's going to happen. I think most people on the internet are, but how is that dark, and how is that something we're not going to expect to see, or we're not going to see coming? So I'm intrigued, crossover people. I'm intrigued. I'm anxious to get there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that's going to be, but I guess we'll find out.
Yes.
Cool. All right, so that does it. For shows not airing right now, what news do we got?
Literally nothing. we have one. I shouldn't say that. We have one news story, but the usuals. I'm sorry, you're not going to get to hear Ed's theme song for Titans. No. We just have nothing new for any of that stuff, but we do have one possible interesting news story about a show in development.
Yes. A couple weeks ago, this slipped through our fingers, but Variety reported that the CW is developing an adaptation of project called Project 13 with Elizabeth Banks producing. And this is going to follow Tracy 13 and her father, Dr. Terrence 13. What do you know about the 13 family?
Zero.
Sarah?
And I really want to know, is 13 their like given surname?
Yep.
Huh. Okay. No, I know nothing. Tell me.
Yeah. No, I don't know much either. This is a very, very obscure character. But it's the kind of thing where it's, I think but basically Terrence 13 is a character who's been around for a while, and he is the skeptic, who he's DC Comics skeptic who goes around disproving supernatural theories and everything else. And what's annoying is that he has a daughter named Tracy, who's going to be the main character in this show, who actually does have magical powers, and is so basically the vibe that I've been getting from this project is that Project 13 is going to be kind of like Veronica Mars with magic.
Excellent.
Yeah.
This makes me
So
happy.
yeah. So there's it's going to be like a procedural mystery show about this girl who has magic powers trying to solve supernatural phenomenon, and her dad is this huge skeptic, and it's the clash that they get into over it. And Elizabeth Banks is producing it, who is an actress, but also director Pitch Perfect, or was it Pitch Perfect 2?
Pitch Perfect
but,
2.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think it's cool that she's getting involved in the behind the scenes. We have a lack of female showrunners just overall, so that's nice that we're going to have a female centric show headed by a woman who's doing the producing there. So cool.
Yeah. And don't know much about this. This is in development, which means that we probably won't be hearing anything unless they if they shoot a pilot in January, which is I believe when pilots are usually shot. Maybe something we see next fall, maybe mid-season replacement, but so we probably won't hear anything about this for a while. But it's out there.
And it may not make it. It may not make it onto the air at all if they choose not to pick up the pilot. But this sounds really on brand for the CW.
Yes, it does. And it's very similar to iZombie in that it's kind of comics adjacent, and I'm sure this will come in a very different form just because there's not a lot of meat on that bone for them to work with. But yeah.
Well, and that's probably good because they can make it a marketable show, a show that the network is going to want to pick up. Kind of like iZombie. I know they changed it quite a bit from the comic, and it made it more palatable to what TV audiences might want. So hopefully they can take the liberties they need to deliver a really good product.
Yeah, and she was kind of like a side character in a couple of Superman storylines in the mid-aughties. And I think she was the Blue Beetle's girlfriend at one point. She was going to join the Teen Titans.
And Blue Beetle exists in the Arrowverse, so
or at least Cord, or at least Cord Industries does.
I mean, I guess I assume that was the same thing. But
it is. It is. But yeah. All right. So that's the news for this week. So now we got to pick the winner for the week.
All right, I'll go first.
Go for it.
I'm giving it this week to Exotic Dancers. They drove the plot in a couple of episodes that we talked about this week, notably Lucifer. We had the birthday cake cop stripper who really, shook his thing. I'm so sorry. And then we had Ella, dressed up like a Vegas showgirl. And I'll give you a second to picture it.
I got it.
And then we'll move on. Okay, got it. And then, of course, we have Flash, which is all about Felicity trying to get Snake Eyes to take it off, which, bad idea, because that was the wrong thing to take off. And, of course, the adventures of Ralph and company in the glamorous world of gentlemen's clubs.
The Golden Booty.
But yeah, no, I thought the Golden Booty. But no, I just thought that we had an unusually high representation of the exotic shake your thing arts this week that really drove the plot in a lot of ways, and I applaud them for the hard work and the cardio that they put into that. Well done.
Well, my winner for the week is bullets, because there were bullets all over this week.
Bullets all over. You're right.
Yeah. Lucifer gifted Chloe a magic bullet that that she shot him with in season 1.
No. That she penetrated him with.
Oh yes, penetrated.
Didn't penetrate her.
Yes, that's right. Samantha at the end found a magic bullet in her shirt that evidently had bounced off of her during an attack. In Gotham, Jim had the bullets that he had to hand out to those cops because Harvey wasn't there. And in Arrow, Vigilante had a bullet fall off his forehead when we found out he had a healing factor. So,
oh my God, Bullets won this week.
Yeah,
absolutely. Bullock lost this week on Gotham, but Bullets totes won.
Yes,
you're welcome.
So yeah. Is it? I think. Are we done?
We're done. This is quite an episode.
Yes. Yeah. This is a long episode. Yeah.
There's a lot to cover. So I guess, Ed, where can we find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, well, that's the DCTV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
I'm Sarah Netzley, SARANETZLEY.
And be sure to follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe. Yeah,
and hey, subscribe, and don't forget to throw us some stars. We could use a couple of 5-star ratings. Let us know what you like about us, and you can give us 5 stars and tell us what you hate about us. That's fine too.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, the reviews go a long way. Ratings go a long way. Please.
They help people find us.
Yes. Be sure to subscribe to our show and on your podcast app of choice, and check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Toodles, poodle.
Shazam!